Zillow has hit a wall and surprised financial markets by abruptly announcing that they are stopping all house purchases until at least the end of the year as part of their Zillow Offers program. The reason for this sudden change of strategy is not clear, but it can range from bad to worse. Bad as in Zillow got too ahead of themselves and realized that they are unable to make a profit out of this business model, and worse as in Zillow spotted signals in their data suggesting that the whole housing market in the United States is about to crash big time. In this video, we'll go through these possibilities and try to understand the reason for this dramatic halt. Less than a week ago, I published a video explaining Zillow's business model and how they got into the iBuying business. As a reminder, iBuying is a new model championed by companies like Opendoor and Redfin, where they buy homes cash, make slight refurbishments, and sell them for a profit shortly afterwards. It's basically real estate flipping based on data. Unlike traditional local flippers who have a feel for their neighborhoods, know how to flip a house so that it gains the most value while spending the least amount of money on the works, iBuyers like Zillow just look at the price appreciation data, then make lower than market value offers to the sellers who are happy to get cash on hand faster, make very superficial refreshments like painting, and quickly put them back on the market for a higher price just because they know that many people are interested in this or that area. And even though Zillow considered this new business model as a key part of their growth strategy, I also explained how it is an extremely risky one. Zillow is taking on debt to finance these cash acquisitions, and if they happen to hold too many of such houses in their inventory while the real estate market trend reverses and starts to go down, they will be left holding the bag. And now here we are, with Zillow slamming the brakes on what they recently called their strategic expansion. Of course, Zillow justifies this with a rather vague explanation that they are working to address a backlog of purchased properties that has left its buying practice beyond operational capacity. This can mean a few things ranging from bad to worse. The least dramatic of these reasons could be that Zillow doesn't have access to enough labor to do the needed refurbishments in their houses. Given that there are shortages of workers in many industries, that could potentially explain why Zillow accumulated a backlog of houses that they haven't sold as fast as they ideally expected to. The problem with this assumption is that it doesn't explain why Zillow paused this business entirely across all its markets, especially given that they do only slight refurbishments and never really massive renovations. If it was a question of labor, they could have just slowed down the pace of house acquisitions instead of completely stopping it. A worse reason for this halt could be that Zillow sees no profitability of this business at all. So far, they have been losing money on their iBuying practice and hope to achieve some sort of scale later to generate a profit. Maybe now, with the thousands of houses purchased and a lot of experience in this field, Zillow realized that there is no way they can make it profitable for them. This news has already sent Zillow's stock even lower. And it's very likely because data is cool and everything, but house flipping is a very local business that depends a lot on the context. First of all, many things cannot be quantified as data, ranging from the feel, the smell, or the warmth of the house, to the neighbor's constantly barking dog or motorcycle noise because he's a die-hard Harley fan. But also, a real estate transaction depends on the context between how desperate the seller is, how attracted the buyers are, and how the agents can balance these relationships to negotiate the final price. But recently, this context, which is normally an absolute crucial intrinsic part of real estate, has been completely set aside and ignored in favor of blind speculative purchases in an insane real estate market that has gone completely off rails. More and more people started to buy houses sight unseen, meaning that they didn't even visit them. Just a virtual tour and boom, here's my offer. Obviously, one can't be too picky about the context if there are 20 more potential buyers who are ready to buy the house seen or unseen at an even greater price without attention to all its downsides. Heck, even completely burnt down houses are on sale as is for ridiculous sums, which just goes to show the levels that real estate market has reached. So the point is that the worst potential reason for Zillow's sudden break is this. Maybe, just maybe, Zillow has spotted a signal in its data that this real estate market has peaked, and from now on it will go down slowly or outright collapse like in 2007. In their position, this would be particularly dramatic, as I explained in my previous video. They might be left holding an inventory of homes that they must now sell at a discount while having to pay back their debts accumulated based on all-time high prices. If they did spot such a signal, it also makes total sense that they wouldn't reveal it until they get rid of their houses. Because just the announcement itself that they are stopping purchasing homes is sending ripples through the housing market and freaking people out about an incoming collapse. And if it's actually happening, it's absolutely in their interest to not precipitate it so they have time to offload their home inventory while mitigating the losses. The thesis for an incoming real estate market crash is strong. Anything that rises sharp is never a very good sign because it often falls back. The pandemic and remote working pushed a lot of people to buy more homes than flats and more outside of the cities than in urban areas. The idea of having more space became instantly insanely attractive as people were experiencing lockdowns or just simply cities that became dull to live in. But that trend can also be temporary, and people are already seen backpedaling on their lonely suburb dreams. Especially that a whopping 64% of millennials regret buying their current home, which is a scary number. Funny enough, many people omitted the fact that home ownership rhymes with high maintenance costs and taxes, which is yet another sign of an irrational buying frenzy. The pandemic response exacerbated the real estate market problem in many ways with policies like mortgage forbearance, eviction moratorium, and stimulus checks. If homeowners are in financial trouble but they can delay their mortgage payments, they don't need to sell their houses as long as the forbearance is in place. When it ends though, a lot of them will have no other choice. If tenants are out of jobs, can't be evicted, but receive government money that helps some of them pay their rent, it can make it seem like there is a lot of rental demand and not enough offer. But when tenants won't be able to pay anymore and evictions will start, more houses will be on sale. So now, add this somewhat artificial supply shortage to low interest rates and a temporary emotion-driven wish to buy a house as far away from cities as possible, you get a perfect recipe for disaster, and stock pictures of this guy everywhere. And given that all the money injected into the economy is contributing to price inflation, the Fed will eventually be forced to raise interest rates to cool it down. When interest rates increase, real estate prices automatically drop, which might contribute to the new downward cycle. On the other hand, the thesis for ever-increasing home prices is that the USA has a shortage of 5 million homes to house its population, which can be resolved fast enough because of slow construction pace, and that labor shortage and rising building material costs only exacerbate the problem. The thing is that this housing shortage didn't suddenly appear out of nowhere, and those people were living somewhere before, whether it was with their parents or roommates. So it's not necessarily a reason. But you also can't have ever-rising home prices even if there's a shortage of them if your population simply can't afford them anymore, which means that eventually the fundamental economics of real estate will prevail. Last time home price to median household income ratio in the US was so high was in 2006. Whether this is the trend that Zillow noticed thanks to its massive data pool is yet to be confirmed, especially that other iBuyers didn't halt their operations. At the moment of recording of this video, only Zillow made the decision to stop buying houses. So it might still be that it's only related to them not figuring out this business model well enough just yet and will take a step back. However, if we see other iBuyers giving up as well, then it will mean that we passed the tipping point of the real estate market. Such a business model can only work during an ever-increasing housing market fueled by a lot of speculation and low interest rates. Once it gets back to normal, iBuying will likely be a thing of the past, and traditional local flippers will be back in the game. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and comment down below your thoughts about what's going on with Zillow and the real estate market. See you soon!